Thanks so much for joining, everyone. It's really nice to see you all. If you haven't met us before, we are wordpower. So we spend all our days working with businesses to help with their AI enablement programs. And then each month, we do one free session called the Power Up, which is where we share what we've learned. So thank you for joining. My name is Daph. We're also joined by Tom, Liz, and Cody. If you want to give us all a wave. Yeah, we've gone with a bit of a disco theme for this session. Well, our profile pictures anyway.
Daph, can
Inspired.
you explain that? Why did we end up with the disco theme for today?
Well, it's kind of apps related, and the Spotify app did it went disco-ified recently, turned itself into a disco ball. Others followed suit. It caused a lot of controversy, so I thought it kind of fitted in a little bit.
Like
Yeah,
that, like
that
that.
that was the logic behind it. Anyway, and I think Tom, you are looking excellent in a disco era.
Thank you. It's a life that I missed.
Shades of Daniel Radcliffe in that photo as well. So that is us. But a huge thank you to our sponsor as well. Oh, hello. If you haven't heard of them, they connect professionals across the world of marketing, tech, leadership, and much more with mentors and run one-to-one video mentorship sessions. I'm signed up myself as a mentor, and it's a really great service. And they're giving away 5 free mentorships for one team. So if you opted in during the registration process, you're already entered into that prize draw. If not, you'll have another chance at the end of the session. That's us, but you're definitely involved in this session as well. So please do ask questions as we go along. You can use the hand raise feature, you can use the microphone, you can use the chat, etc., and have your AI tool ready as well, whether it's called ChatGPT or whatever, because we'll do some hands-on prompting as well. And today's session is all about connecting apps. So we're going to talk through how that works to start with and setting up the permissions. Then we're going to run through some quick examples that you can start to get the value out of your apps. We're going to showcase email, calendar, and Zoom. And we've also got a prompt pack to give away for kind of further inspiration on what you could be doing, what use cases are out there, and how you can be prompting. But Tom, why are we here? Why are apps and connecting your apps to your AI? Why is that so powerful?
Yeah, so when we think about how AI has evolved over the last few years, you started with this really text-heavy chat experience where you're exchanging some information, getting some information back from your chat. In our last session, we zoomed in on Cowork, which is a tool that allows you to make files and manipulate files. And that's kind of in the second era of AI for work productivity for our knowledge work use case, where you're starting to make files and mess around with files. We're seeing this third era emerge where you're actually reaching outside of the core AI platform and interacting with third-party applications to either read information or take actions and essentially interact with the outside world. So basically break free from text, even break out of files and start using applications on your behalf. And this is really powerful because you can imagine as AI for many of you has become kind of the way that you start your day or kind of your go-to tool. Your AI platform eventually is going to become potentially the front door to your computer and the front door to the internet and maybe the first place that you go to coordinate work before you hop out of your chat tool and go into one of these independent applications. We're not fully there yet. We often find that these connectors are really powerful, but we still jump into applications certainly from time to time. But it feels like we're at the beginning of kind of a big paradigm shift where AI is your control center for everything that you do on a computer. So we thought this was an important session to do for today.
Yeah, big time. And we're kind of seeing 4 types of app connectors.
Yeah, for general categories that we're seeing, there's really an emerging sea of different connector tools. So I suggest that you continue to keep an eye on the space as it evolves. But we thought maybe we'd bucket it for you all to kind of orient you. So the first sector is file stores. Think Google Drive, SharePoint, the place that you store mission critical information for your business. Being able to pull that in as context in a chat conversation, being able to create new files and put them there, and increasingly even edit files. Can't do that in every one of these connections. Again, this is kind of an evolving space, but you're going from reading information, pulling it in, creating new files, and then editing them and making changes. Saving you a lot of time and adding efficiency to your work. Second one is email and calendar. This one we think of mostly in terms of productivity and time savings. But basically avoiding the need to hop into your Gmail platform and your calendar, do things like triage your inbox, draft replies, check your schedule, coordinate calendars across time zone. That's a big one for wordpower. We have an international team. So major productivity gain that you get from email and calendar. Third bucket is messaging tools. These are great. Think like Slack and Teams, really powerful for quickly summarizing information, maybe quickly catching up to speed. You wake up and there's just massive Slack thread that's been going on. You can quickly get through that using your AI tool. And increasingly, we're also using these tools as a way to send through your AI tool. So maybe you come up with something clever as you're working in ChatGPT, you want to drop that into your team's Slack channel. You can do that now using a connector. And then we have this fourth bucket of what we call standalone applications. And this is basically everything else. This is all the sorts of tools that historically you might have had to take training in these. You might be a power user in something. So think like Notion, Asana, Figma, Canva, HubSpot, basically any sort of third-party software tool. You're seeing most of these or many of these companies get on the roadmap to build out these connectors and these apps integrations with ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, and so forth. And these really vary across the board. Each individual connection might be either robust and have all sorts of controls and capabilities, or some of them are quite narrow and they can do a specific thing. So watch this space, and if there's any go-to software platforms, we're kind of trying to drag that out with our setup question for today. Like if Otter, which somebody had mentioned is really important to you, we definitely look into the Otter connector or check Otter's roadmap to see if they plan on building a connector at some point, because it really does become a major advantage to be able to talk to your software with natural language like you do when you're chatting with AI.
And Tom, a lot of these kind of connectors start off as kind of read only, and then but gradually there's more and more kind of write capabilities coming into them.
Yeah, we've definitely seen some connectors. We check in like a couple months after we first tested it, and they start to get more and more capabilities. And the progression you mentioned is one you see the connectors go through. It's also one users should go through too. So reading information, pulling information from your tools, and incorporating that into your chat is a really safe, useful thing to do. Making changes in the outside world where you're not in that platform that you're so familiar with, it's just a little bit hairier. There's kind of more opportunity for things to go wrong. So the progression usually is to read and incorporate information, and then write and edit and make changes as you build more comfort, and the connectors themselves become more robust.
Yeah, makes sense. And yeah, it's exciting. Definitely watch this space. If you haven't done so before, here's how you connect your apps across the major AI platforms. So Claude on the left, it's within the sidebar, customize, and it's called connectors. ChatGPT, again, within the sidebar, but here they're called apps. And within Gemini, it's within the sidebar, the settings icon, and they are called connected apps. So the terminology is slightly different, but hopefully there'll be a bit of standardization in future. And let's jump into what that looks like in a specific example. So this is within Claude. I'm going into customize and connectors. And here you can see the list of apps that I've already connected. Here's a list of apps that folks within wordpower have connected, but I have not. And if I want to connect something new, I would go up to the top, I would click Add Connector and Browse Connector. And as you can see here, there's a whole marketplace of different apps to connect. You can go in, you can search, you can find whatever you want. If you want something, you can click plus, and then you'll normally go through a form of authentication to get that connected to your AI account. Hopefully you've gone in and done that already for a few apps. If not, please go in and do it for your email provider and your calendar provider. And if you're using Zoom, do that as well, because we're going to be doing some hands-on. But if not, no problem. You can just watch along. And the next thing to call out is the kind of permissions that you are granting to your apps. The permissioning system varies quite a lot between the different AI tools. Here within Claude, you get quite a detailed level of control. So Slack here, for example, it's bucketed into three different types: interactive permissions, read permissions, and write permissions. You can go into each one and you can set whether you want to always allow your AI tool to read Slack, whether you want it to ask permission each time, or whether you never want to allow Slack permission. So I've generally got it. So everything is read only is always allow. But anytime I want it to write something, it needs to ask me for permission first. And that's just to stop it, going crazy, writing, deleting things without me knowing about it.
That said, Daph, I find the more I use them, even on read and draft mode, the more I find myself going back into the permissions and clicking allow, because you do build more confidence with a connector the more that you use it. Would you agree?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we haven't had any bad experiences so far where it started, spamming Slack or email or anything like that. So, yeah, as I build up confidence, I'm definitely allowing more and more permissions. And yeah, this level of granularity isn't available quite yet in some of the other tools, but I'm hoping they follow suit because it is super useful to have this level of control as a user. Any questions about setting up connectors or the permissions that you allow?
This is related to like mail, like whether it's Gmail. Do you guys, are you able to set up something that is for personal and, business emails or no? If it's the same provider?
Mm. Yeah, two different, each time you set up a connection, it's going to ask you to authenticate, and you authenticate once to a specific account. So you've connected your Gmail to your Gmail connector to your Gmail account or to one Gmail account. You've connected your Outlook connector to another Outlook account. So managing like several Outlook accounts at once does seem to be a work in progress. I don't have a good solution for that. Usually connecting it one to one.
Yeah. Because a lot of times people have their work, let's say work and the personal or Gmail, and that might be a choice.
Yeah, you might want to have different accounts even at that point. Different ChatGPT accounts because if you're like me and you use your AI for personal stuff too, that the memory bleeding into the professional can be a little bit messy. So personally, I have a personal account. It's attached to my personal Gmail. Then I have a professional account. It's attached to my professional Gmail.
It's a great future use case, though, if you can get your AI tool to pull in information from multiple Gmail accounts, multiple Outlook accounts, etc., across personal or different projects you're working on. That's going to be a real unlock.
Hmm.
Super. Speaking of Gmail, Tom, do you want to give us a quick example?
Yeah, let's do it. So let's hop into ChatGPT to kick us off. So here I am in ChatGPT. I have this on temporary chat so I can demo, but not something that you need to do. So I'm going to tell it first to scan my Gmail, what messages are waiting on me for replies. So we're going to start with kind of a simple one. This might be a way that you kind of just catch up your inbox. And you'll notice in this case, I called out Gmail specifically because I have Gmail and Outlook connected to this account. If you were to say something like check out my emails, it will take the liberty of trying to decide which platform. Maybe I'll go check both platforms. So usually our best practice is to call out the app itself. In fact, you can oftentimes even select the app like I can do down here in ChatGPT and make sure that I'm working directly with Gmail. So a few options say, I want to check my email. More specifically, I want to check my Gmail. Or finally, you can come and pick the exact app that you want to include. Now, embarrassingly, this is my actual Gmail. So you're going to see things about phishing and social events. Looks like something about a Marine survey. Okay, any follow-ups? Looks like it missed the one that I was hoping to see. Anything going on this weekend that I should know about?
And Liz is dropping some of these example prompts into the chat, by the way.
Okay, sounds good. Okay. We're gonna hop to the preloaded one. Anytime you're doing an AI demo, it has the potential to go off the rails, and that's what's happening here a little bit. So I'm gonna hop over to one that I did earlier today. That is a little cleaner. Cool. So here's one I did this morning, and I'm gonna scroll all the way up to this. So I said, hey, scan my Gmail. It pulled up the same embarrassing phishing stuff, but it also told me that there's a kickball party this weekend on Saturday. And it says, you have potentially not RSVP'd to the kickball party. So I said, great, let's take a look at that. Before I reply about the kickball party, I'm going to use this prompt that I think Liz just shared with you all about building a style guide. So we're actually doing writing with AI as our topic for next month. So consider this a little preview. Anytime we're going to create messaging using AI, we want it to sound like us, of course. So I'm telling the ChatGPT to build an email writing style guide, document my writing style and tone in my account, review any emails I've sent in the last 30 days, and capture my writing style. It talks to the Gmail connector. Usually, when you're using an AI tool, nearly always, it's going to have some kind of indication that it actually used the connector. You want to make sure you see that. You don't want to end up thinking that it used the connector, but it didn't. It says, hey, I reviewed all these emails, and what I'm putting together is not a generic style profile. It reflects the patterns that appeared repeatedly in your actual messages. So it talks about my voice. I'm friendly, but I'm not overly warm. Here are certain greetings that I use. Casual, I use things like an M dash instead of long, lengthy. I do use some commas. So here it's going through lots of information. If I was to do this without a connector, I'd have to go get those emails, bring them into my chat, and then tell the AI to go through it. So major time saver to be able to do that here using my connector. And it made a robust style guide, all sorts of examples. When I'm talking about fishing, I'll use expressions like trying to get lucky with a king, things like that. So it's basically building the style guide and exactly how I speak. So the next prompt that we dropped, let's reply to Kelly's email telling her that we're in for the kickball game on Saturday. And I said, use that email writing style guide. So it comes in here, uses an M dash instead of comma, just like I do. Says, hey, we're in, looking forward to it. This is a really short and simple email, but the point is that's how I talk. And all the emails that are just read in my to create the style guide look and feel kind of like this. It even says here's another version that has a little bit more personality, drops in some lame email humor, which is also a signature of my style guide, making fun of my kickball skills. So again, what's cool is it sifted through a lot of information and to connect to the outside world and actually draft the email, it did it right here. You notice that it created this cool little widget in ChatGPT. Most of the connectors we find over time, the experience in the tools is getting better and more interesting. Originally, when you called the connector, a lot of times it just give you back some text. Now you're seeing this interactivity, and I can actually send this email right here directly in ChatGPT without ever leaving the conversation. Any questions on this one?
Any question for the group? Do you think AI can accurately write in your tone? Nathan, what do you think?
That email right in my tone. I mean, I've kind of seen it hit or miss when I've used AI to do it. Um, Funny enough, colleagues of mine, we actually built kind of our own proprietary kind of salesy email outreach system, and we've been like playing around with it a lot. And I almost have myself editing almost every email in the beginning until the end. It kind of worked. So,
Hmm.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, editing is definitely the right idea. You can see right here, it pitches this to you in an edit window. It's like implied that you're going to edit this. So it saves me time and sifting through a bunch of emails. It helps draft something that's nearly on my voice. But I'm with you, Nate. I would go in and edit it nearly 100% of the time. But I certainly saved a lot of time getting it to the 5 yard line, right? Is kind of the idea.
Definitely.
Um, Super. Let's move on to another connector. So this time, calendar. And where the connector is really powerful is its ability to, scan your calendar and provide your availability. So in this example, a client wants to meet me at a certain time in a certain time zone, PT. Check my Outlook calendar. What times do I have available? I've got it set to instant mode as we're doing a quick demo, but it should go across and do that and provide me the times that I'm available in PT or in UK. Super helpful. And it can also do it across multiple calendars. So look across my colleagues' calendars, find times that we're all available is super useful. And to go beyond that, it's also really good for creating briefings. So here, I'd like to understand what the rest of my week looks like. Check my calendar, let me know by day what meetings I have. I include top line information like time, title, attendees, etc. It goes ahead and does that and provides me some really useful context. And the kind of the next step of that is making that, so it's scheduled, so it's doing it each morning, and it's pulling in useful information from other connectors as well. So here's a quick live artifact I built in Cowork. So as you can see, it's pulled in my calendar for the next few days. It's got useful context. But it's also pulling in information from my emails, finding emails that I haven't responded to yet that need my follow-up. So that's definitely one of the powers of app connectors is pulling in from multiple sources and providing useful information for you in advance. Is anyone playing with live artifacts at all at this stage?
They're awfully new. They're only a few weeks old, so you're forgiven if you haven't messed with them yet. But pretty cool feature within Claude, and the ability to connect them to your connectors is just awesome.
Yeah, definitely worth having a play with. Super. And Tom, let's move on to Zoom.
All right, one more quick one we're going to do. I'm going to pull up this combo I loaded earlier just for the sake of time. So here I am in Claude for this one. And for this one, I said, please give me action items for my Zoom meeting on April 24th. So pretty straightforward. And again, I called out the specific app in order to trigger it. Claude got the message, pulled up Zoom, went and found this meeting, said, hey, here are the proposed action items from the meeting. I asked for it to be anonymized so for you all today. Here are the action items for me. Here are the action items for the prospect. And if you've been using like Zoom or Otter or any of the AI note-taking tools, you've found these summaries are likely quite useful. They're not always perfect. So a lot of times users have a framework that they want to see a summary in. So one that I like to use from product management is called user stories. So I said, hey, let's detail this customer ask using the user stories framework. And it rewrites everything through this lens that matters to me. So it's kind of one of our best practices for dealing with transcripts. It can be kind of unwieldy to have all this information. Go ahead and tell it how you want things to be and get your response back that way. So here it's writing out all these different user stories that came up in the meeting. And finally, I said, hey, let's keep my team up to date on this. Let's send a short note to our Slack channel, including the action items plus the top user story. It calls the Slack connector, sifts around and looks at the channels, finds the demos channels, drafted up a post here that I approved, and I hit send. And then it goes ahead and sends that over to my Slack channel, which I will prove to you all right here. I actually just did it. So here we go, 11:21, just did this during the call. I hit send, and here are the action items. Here are the top user stories. One thing that we really like about the connection into Claude or into Slack is that the tools sign their name usually. So Claude here says this was sent using Claude. So it kind of just gives it a little extra context for the end user to understand it might be AI generated. So allows us to communicate faster, less clicking around in between apps. Broadcast sort of your AI output into a messaging channel is a great way to finish your AI workflow.
Yeah, I think that's something we're doing quite a lot is we're doing work within AI and then we are pushing, notifications out to other apps like Asana, mark this project as done, Slack, and tell everyone else the latest update. And the best thing about it is you don't have to be super specific. The AI tool understands the context and understands language, so you can just say, send it to the demo channel or send this to, update the task in Asana, and it goes away and knows exactly which one you're talking about, which is super, super useful. Would love to know from the group, is there anyone else getting great value from the apps that they've connected to their AI tools? Anyone brave enough to share? Cara, how about you?
I was literally just unmuting. Gmail's super helpful. Like if I know someone has told me something in an email, like my kid's teacher told me for the millionth time what time the spring concert is, but I forgot. And it was this morning, by the way. I just ask it in one of like ChatGPT to scan my email and let me know to not be late.
Yeah, nice. I'm doing that a lot as well. And what I often get confused of is where the information was told to me. Was it in my email? Was it in Slack? Is it in a document somewhere? So you can get AI to search all of them and find that context, which is super helpful.
Mm.
We've just launched a poll into Zoom. I would love any feedback on this session. And we're going to leave you with some example prompts as well. So this will be following up fairly shortly afterwards. But it takes you through some of the prompts we've used today and a few more that we haven't talked about. So take a look at that. Hopefully you can get some inspiration on how you can be using apps in your AI tools a bit more. Including across cloud drives, which we didn't touch on today. But Tom, can you tell us about our next session?
Yeah, if you thought today was useful, we'd love to see you next month on July 8th. We're going to dig into a topic that have been very excited about for a long time, which is writing with AI. If you've used AI, you've likely seen how great it is at crafting stories and writing posts, marketing materials, messages, things like that. But you also likely know that there's major drawbacks with using AI to create that sort of writing. Like, doesn't always sound lifelike, doesn't always represent your voice. So we're going to do a 30-minute session where we'll talk about how you can make sure that when you are writing with AI, your fingerprints are all over the work. The work represents you and your thoughts, and you're not just generating AI slop. So we're big believers in AI for creativity, but there are rules to be followed and best practices to be mindful of. So we'd love to see you all for that.
Thanks, Tom. And before we go, there is one question in chat from Tatiana. Can I upload the Excel with emails and names and give GPT language and ask to send the language to each individual from my Excel, from my Gmail, addressing them by first name? So kind of like
Yeah.
an old school mail merge.
Yeah, love that one. I mean, the AI tools can certainly draft and write emails on your behalf, and they can draft and write multiple emails. You saw the one that I showed you, it drafted two at once. The complexity of your ask is based on the platform and the tool that you're using. So if you really want to send like 20 emails, you might not be able to do that with, for example, a chat GPT set on instant mode. More robust tools like the Pro Mode tools or Claude Cowork, which we covered in our last session, that can handle multi-step tasks, might be more suitable for something that's a little more complex like that. So I just call that a little bit of a 2.0 use case, but I would encourage you to try things and see if you hit limits.
A great question. Thank you very much. Super. That is it for today. Right on time. I'm going to leave you with a bit of ABBA. And yeah, great to see you all. Hope to see you next time.
Thanks, everyone. Cheers.
Guys,